and channel 7, 11, and 20, the website www.gbn.gd, and the listeners of Classic 105 and Hot 98. Good morning to each and every one of you. Like I said, it is Tuesday, and we facilitate Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Tobias Clement, on this day of the week. He's joining us virtually via Skype. Good morning, Mr. Clement.
Good morning to you, Blossom, and good morning to all of your listeners and viewers throughout Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, the diaspora, and anywhere that you might be listening. Pleasant good morning to everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us once again. How has the week been since I've last seen you?
Well, very interesting, and although we have just past Mother's Day, it almost crept up on us, as you know, because people were scrambling for the weekend. Sunday is Mother's Day, and again, I want to take my hats off to all the mothers, all the ladies in Grenada, mothers, expected mothers, that they have been doing a great job, especially in this time of lockdown. I know some mothers complain that they have added additional jobs to the portfolio, in that they have to do the work at home and then they have to do work as usual. And it's not easy to be a working mother at home, so you look at the value there. And there's some of us that are single moms and have it very, very tough. And then there are some of us that are dads and moms at the same time. So all the people who are into the development of our young nation, that mother our kids in some form or fashion. To you, I say, to God be the glory, and continue to be a great example, so that we can raise our children and grandchildren in the way that they should be raised.
Amen.
So thank you to all mothers.
Thank you for the thank yous. All right. Mr. Clement, speaking of Sunday, there was a national address by Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, in which he highlighted a number of things, among them including further easement of the regulations, some information on investments in the hotel and tourism industry, among other things, financial constraints of the economy here in Grenada. Looking at the speech, it was just about half an hour. What's your thoughts on what was highlighted by the nation's leader?
Well, it was a long situation again where we might have just at the onset just a few, and then we might have a spike or wave in Grenada a second time and third one time because people was adamant and continue to be so that the place should be open up in such a way. I mean, that was one. Then when you look at what was put forward again in terms of stimulating the economy, and I differ strongly, and Grenadians too should take the lead in terms of what was said. Now we announced big project in terms of hotels coming into Grenada at this time, and then we announced also that that in terms of this the citizen by investment programs and so forth. But then what about agriculture? Today, all other countries except Grenada is touting agriculture as the way forward in this era of COVID-19. And we are talking investment again in the tourism industry. I mean, yes, we can put additional hotel rooms, even the ones that are here now. We have to start thinking about how are we going to fill them again. Is that going to happen anytime soon? You know, and if not, then invest in more hotels at this point in time. Then we talk about the citizen by investment program. Where are we going with that again? I mean, that is, I mean, people have all kinds of names for that in terms of what they say, Passport Grenada. I mean, think about it. We have a country to look after. We have a people to feed. Our first order of business now is our food security in this country. Look at where Grenada is today in terms of agriculture productivity, in terms of comparing it to the other OECS countries and so forth. You look at St. Vincent, I think they have a program now where they're going to be plowing all the lands for the people free of cost. In Trinidad, they reduce the taxes on seeds so that the farmers can get an ease. What have we done in Grenada for the farmers, really? We saw the battle with the Poultry Association that we talked about last week and the poultry farmers. Isn't it high time in our country for this government to prioritize agriculture and not just mention agriculture and fisheries, by the way? You know, and that is how it is. Agriculture now have just become a by the way mention. It is mentioned just maybe just for political reason, but then we do not put the emphasis, the force, the insight into agriculture. If we do not treat agriculture as one of the main pillars of our economy going forward, then again we would have failed a second time. I think this is the time at the beginning of this COVID-19 or after is for us to maybe to plot a different course, have an alternative way of development. I mean, I cannot stop emphasizing what Pakistan has put forward for its people in terms of the green economy and putting agriculture front and center to put young people back to work, to rejuvenate the industry. I have people that talk to me. They have called me because they have been laid off and they go work with their brothers and sisters already in the farm or in the garden and to start producing. So our Grenadian people, you know, they say when water more than flour, you do what you have to do to survive. And even without the stimulation from government or without the insight or incentive from government, a lot of people have turned towards agriculture for sustenance, because at least you might be able and you will be able to feed yourself and maybe to get something from it. And I would want a government at this time in Grenada, like everywhere else, to start touting agriculture as one of the base and foundation. I mean, in England now, where many people have been laid off, they turn to agriculture to go into the farms and help, because they say you have engineers and lawyers and, you know, everybody now going and making a daily bread. Probably it's for some people it's laborious, but it is a way out. It's the beginning of a way out. Look, the United States government too is turning to the farmers and would be paying them millions of dollars to buy food from them so that they can stock the food banks. And certain praise come into the farmers, because how else can we keep our people? I mean, it is one thing to be out of a work, but it's another thing to be hungry. They say a hungry man is an angry man. Hence, the United States now is moving to make sure that they buy all the food they can from the farmers so that they can stock the food bank, so that people may be able to go there and get something so that the family can go by. And we must talk about the failure of this government in terms of the agriculture powers for our people. I mean, you look at it and you have to get pretty upset, because even during this COVID-19 lockdown, export from Grenada went to zero, while other OECS countries and other countries in the Caribbean, the export went up. I mean, after all, it is leaving. So it just shows where farming is. But at the same time, probably during this COVID-19, they were trying to negotiate how are we going to get the hotels back up and running, and how are we going to get people back into Grenada to satisfy the hotel industry, which we do not have no control over. But I think we should place emphasis on what we have control over.
Crops or the specific sector, whether it be livestock or farming, that agriculture needs to see that it becomes a priority and not just a by the way?
What I will not do is to say to reinvent the wheel. Look at what we did before in terms of the incentives that were given, in terms of subsidies that was given, in terms of how we help farmers. I mean, even before, the technical support was also there. We have so many pieces of land now, both government and private, just lying idly by. But let us bring the farmers together. Let us bring the technical people together, and let us sit down and map out a strategic way in terms of bringing back farming. Someone spoke to me and said a few years ago they remember when Grenada was top in the nutmeg, banana, cocoa, short crops. We used to export food to Trinidad, Tobago, to St. Vincent. They compare St. Vincent when we were exporting crop in these great numbers. St. Vincent was still doing our root and some just other minor crops. Today it is almost reverse, in that we have to I see sometimes you pass on the Carnage and the boats will come from St. Vincent with ground provision and other stuff, or animals, and so you can't say no. I mean, it is evident that you pass on the Carnage and you see bags and bags of vegetables, ground provision coming from St. Vincent. That never happened in Grenada today. But I mean, if you as the government is always the leading force in driving any entity within the sector. And if government is not driving agriculture, then interest would be lost in agriculture. If government is bent set on driving tourism, then that is what would be in the minds of the people. I do believe that starting from our schools and almost a re-education of our people, that what we have that is very tangible in our hands, that we have control over, is our land, our space, our agriculture. We have seen, because of COVID-19, the vulnerability of the tourism sector. Yes, it's there. It can be supported by agriculture, but then still, even agriculture can support the tourism industry. Look at our import bills. Among other things that we import, maybe a lot of our food outside of Grenada, so that we can satisfy even the tourist industry as it is. But now, I mean, you have to tell yourself, how soon will the tourist industry come back after this COVID-19, or with the onset of the COVID-19 ongoing? Because yet, while we're talking about stimulating the economy through tourism, and building new hotel room stock. We do not know how long COVID-19 will be around for. And I hope that we do have both long-term and short-term plans for moving forward, and that is what we should do. And I say both long-term and short-term plans should be agriculture-based.
The Prime Minister's speech, as part, you mentioned it, just alluded to it, the acquisition of Port Louis and Mount Cinnamon with the intended construction of 4 hotels. How you think this would help us? Because right now I think what we need are things that would help the economy bounce back. With the probably years that this project would take to fully come on stream, how do you think this would help us?
Well, right. I mean, yes, he mentioned it that with the acquisition and so forth. But is that immediate? What if there is anything there immediate? We know how long these things come on. I do not know if it will come on during this time of COVID-19. If yes, then probably you might see a few construction work thereabout. But then even after, we would want to build it, and then there is a time that it says build it and they would come. But the question is, you have it now, can they come? So to boast that as probably bringing back the economy, then I think it's a failure, because you have to boast back into Grenada. What you should boast about is what you have control over, and this should be the direction in which our country is taken by its leadership in terms of what we have control over. And I said we have control over our natural resources, and part of that is our land, our water, and our space that we can use to provide food for our people and short-term and long-term employment for our people through agriculture. So boasting that there, to me, it was a failure in that how will that help immediately? Those projects sometimes take years to come on, and probably might take a couple of years to complete. I do not know what is the magnitude of it. But then we're talking about short-term, long-term. And where are we going to go? Because this time now, with the advent of COVID-19, things are very unpredictable as to where it is going. Nobody would say that our situation now would end at the end of August or end at the end of December 31st, but it is there, and we have to deal with it. And how we deal with it would be very important thing going forward. And I think our direction should have changed. And like I say, use this opportunity to change the direction in which our country is going.
During your time with the NNP, with the government, how much did you push for a focus on the agricultural sector?
Well, I have always spoken about agriculture. I mean, I practice agriculture. I think I even get in trouble for talking about modern agriculture and the way that how we should do things. I am a registered farmer, as you probably might know now, because and I do the little that I can, but I think if it is done wisely, it is a way out for a lot of people. It's a way out for our young people. Now, I believe in research and development, and in my little piece that I have, I do a lot of research and development in terms of putting the technology to work. And if the technology is put to work in agriculture, then it will be not as labor intensive. It is smart technology. For instance, you could have your field. You could have a sprinkler system. Usually you would have to go turn on your sprinkler system and do this and do that. How about having the system in such a way that you have probes that could measure the amount of moisture in the soil, and the sprinkler comes on automatically, so you don't have to be time consuming, or even now they talk about prettier lastly. You could have remote cameras that are everywhere so that you can see everything. That is there. I mean, and the technology now, someone spoke to me recently that that they can use the drone now with a particular program, and the program can measure the moisture content of the soil. You can know which soil to use for what kind of crop, in terms of the fertility and the content. So the technology is there, but we never really boast the technology. We cannot live in Grenada in 2020 and do 20th century technology in agriculture. That just won't work, because going back to the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, we saw how labor intensive it was. And so it has become a lot easier and a lot smarter. And we have to transform and use, if we were to use technology in agriculture as is, we can maximize and get a lot more of it. And just what I mentioned, that is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, you talk now about greenhouse farming and aqua farming and all different kind of farming that you can do in terms of agriculture and the space that we have. And mind you, I would boast Grenada that in my little investigation and in my little place that I have, that you find Grenada in terms of fertility, soil fertility, probably is one of the most fertile and blessed places in terms of fertility, in terms of rainfall that we have in the Caribbean. If Grenada and its people were to be emphasized on in terms of agriculture, I think again we would be on the road to recovery and the road to prosperity. But somehow our leaders are not seeing agriculture. It's like you mentioned agriculture, and it's almost becoming like a cuss word to them. But for a lot of people, agriculture is life. And we must understand that in every country, if you do not have an agriculture base, then you are at the mercies of external forces. And agriculture based in Grenada will not put us at the mercies of the external forces. What we need is for government intervention in a serious way to put forward a program that will help farmers develop the farm in a modern way so that they can maximize the productivity and maximize the profit from it and the income, and to generate a place of employment for the so many people that is unemployed today. And that is what we are looking for. I did not see that in the speech put forward on Sunday night. I think it was lacking interest in the Grenadian people as a whole.
Last time we spoke, you mentioned that there have been a few people who come to you with some of their issues, now that you're leader of the opposition, with the hope that you would be able to help them. In terms of the opportunity to do business in Grenada, considering the present economic climate, the businesses that are open, some that are closed, have people been coming to you with that kind of request or concern in terms of doing business?
I have received a lot of calls from a lot of people. I have received calls from Carriacou. I have received calls from people from St. Andrews, from St. Patrick's, probably in all of the sector, and they are saying. I met a lady in the Martin Road last week, and she said, now that you're there, I feel as if I have a voice. And she pulled me aside and she said, problems that she's a farmer, and she's also a trafficker from St. Andrew. And she said to me that, the port in St. Andrew is closed because no boats come into St. Andrews now, so we have to come to St. George's. And a lot of my colleagues refuse to do business in St. George's because of the difficulties. Why is it that the government cannot let one boat from Trinidad come into St. Andrews so that they can start the business again? And the difficulty lies there that the boat comes in on Thursday or Friday. You hire a transportation from Grenville, a van or truck from Grenville to come because you have goods on the port in St. George. When you come down to St. George's, you cannot get your goods clear on Friday. you may have to hire the same truck again. So pay twice to come to St. George's to get your goods clear on Monday. And that is a concern that was raised again in terms of how much can be done, the double spending of money, because you hire the truck on Friday, you come, you cannot get your goods clear, so you have to hire it again on Monday from Grenville to come down. And at the same time, the port in Grenville is closed. Well, so government, in terms of opening up back, it has to be fair across the board, because if it's not fair across the board, people would complain. Another complaint that I get, that the stimulus package has put forward. People call me trying to find a way out, because a lot of them are still in dire straits, and some of them cannot. They have been calling different places, the Ministry of Finance, as to how they can access or how to get information to know that they are out of work, they are in the hotel industry, yet the workers are calling, did my place of business get any from the stimulus package so that I can get to? And I get a lot of people calling me as to find out how they can, who got, Mr. Clement, how can I, I try to point them to certain ministries that would be involved, and they say they have been calling and calling and calling. And so what the government has to do, they have to put out for people on the media, social media, radio, TV, how they can access any fund from the stimulus package. Like I said, it should not be done in such a clandestine way that people almost have to go through a maze to find out how they can get it. And after making a lot of phone calls, still they get no headway. So an education of the public is needed. If there are any more stimulus package monies remaining, how people can access. I know they said that 700, 900 persons might have received some, but what about the thousands that did not receive or cannot get through or do not know how to get through, and to be mindful of that. So I have received a lot of calls in that light also, in terms of how can I access what was given. I know that I got a few calls too from Carriacou in terms of the lockdown. For some of them was so intense that they were hoping and calling for the construction industry to be open, because a lot of the industry in Carriacou is into the construction industry. From Petit Martinique, I know it's almost a port with a lot of fisher folks there, and to be almost 2 months without venturing out, that is difficult for a lot of them. I know that some people are saying that it is time for them to go and ply the trade so that they can support themselves and their family. And for those folks, we know how life could be for them sometimes, that they are the most disadvantaged in our society. Especially those that work with the boat, that they almost live from day to day. And if you go for a month, 6 weeks, 2 months without able to do business, then people might start getting desperate, or some people have begun to get desperate. So whatever measures that is put in place to open up, these folks should be considered first and foremost in terms of getting them back to work in a safe way, so that is where I go with that today.
All right, let's take a break and come back inside. I know the people are eager to get their questions into Mr. Clement. We'll be right back after this very brief break. Stick and stay. This is To The Point.
I'm reaching my dreams with GOT. They're the ones for me. I'm reaching my dreams with GOT.
The NIS NIS is committed to your well-being and continues to provide the same excellent service to you from the safety of your home or office. Therefore, from April 2020, all remittances must be submitted electronically to nisremit@nisgrenada.org. The e-remittance template can be downloaded from our website at www.nisgrenada.org/e-submission. Alternatively, you can provide us with your email address and the required Excel spreadsheet will be sent to you. Call 440-3309 or chat with us on social media for more information. NIS, serving you because we care.
Coughs and sneezes spread diseases. So cover coughs and sneezes, please. Not with a rag or bandana. They trap germs. When you use the rag again, you put germs on your hands and everything else you touch. When you cough or sneeze, cover your mouth and nose with tissue. Throw the tissue in a bin and wash your hands afterwards. If you don't have a tissue, cough into your sleeve or elbow. Alcohol-based hand sanitizers are also effective in cleaning hands.
Part of our social media revamp, the GBN is committed on providing accurate information by just one click through our social media platforms. You can now follow our Facebook page at GBN Television, together with our sister stations Classic FM Grenada and Hot FM Grenada. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Grenada Broadcasting Network. They say one picture is worth 1,000 words. Now you have the opportunity to follow us on Instagram at GBN_news and our newly added WhatsApp feature to our News and Current Affairs Department on telephone number 473-405-3052. GBN, with you, anywhere, everywhere.
5 things you need to know about self-isolation. Stay home. If you are told to self-isolate, it means staying at home, not going to work, school, or other public places, and you should not have any visitors. Separate yourself. If you live with others, then you need to stay in a well-ventilated bedroom with the door shut. If you have to share a bathroom, then use it after everyone else. Don't share towels and toiletries, as this may put others at risk. Call ahead. If you develop symptoms such as a fever or cough, then seek advice first by calling the Ministry of Health's hotline at 5.
Welcome back to The Point. We are speaking with Opposition Leader, the Honorable Tobias Clement. We are going to open the phone lines right away. 435-2041 is the number to call and ask your questions of Mr. Clement. You can also pose your questions on the GBN Television Facebook page, the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel, or on the WhatsApp. It's also 435-2041. But please do not voice or video call the WhatsApp, only written messages on the WhatsApp, and I will ask Mr. Clement on your behalf. Let's go to our first phone call. Good morning.
Good morning, Blossom. How are you, darling?
I'm good.
Very good. Nice hearing you.
Nice hearing you. Thank you.
Yes. Tell
Yes,
Mr.
go
Clement
ahead.
it's time to name his party that he's talking about and try to face people more better than that. Stop looking up in the cloud before you talk. Face people and speak to them. Okay?
Thank you very much, caller. Once again, they're asking for the naming of your team going forward. Are we any closer to naming the senators?
Well, the naming of the senators, like I said, it's an issue that will be filled, and maybe will be filled shortly. I think even presently now, amenities in the works, and it will happen. You know, I do not want to hold the nation hostage in terms of where we are, but the process is one that is very important. All the process, especially in terms of democracy, is important and must be important. And you do not. I do believe that one must have a firm deliberation in terms of decisions that are made. And I guess people are thinking that offices like this is just that it just come up with a name like that. Everybody within your organization and within your team must be properly vetted, and decisions have to be made, and they're not like decisions that must be made haphazardly. So, like I said, I will take my time, and by God's grace, try to get it right. You know, and so when I come, I know that I got it right.
All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Good morning.
Good morning, my dear Blossom, and good morning, Mr. Clement. How is everybody there? Now, I have a few points to deal with in any case. You know, I have an article concerning Bishop in the days gone by talking about knowledge in the service of production. You ever see a copy of that speech? Bishop's speech in the time gone by in 1980. I made a speech in Majesty College about knowledge, service, and production. Now, you have, in Europe and in other parts of the world, in France and other countries, where they plant up the crop for the season to get it ripped. All spoil, you could say, in any case. No? Right now, they can't get nobody to come out to pick the fruits for them. All the fruit spoil. And because I died a lot of years ago, because I died today, and this government, and NDC, and NONA in the days gone in Blaze time. I was dying a long time in Givy time. I was kind of dying down by degrees, cut down by degrees until it reached down to. But when after Albana gone right now, I would say it gone through. But people still plant in any case, but there are no people to eat the food we plant in Grenada. We need a big population in that in Grenada to buy our local food when you plant and you get it out of your hand. We need a big population, but we're too small. You know, about 1,000 people coming in Grenada to eat our food in Grenada, or even more. Now, if you are a student going to school, and you have 25 subjects, all kind of degree, all kind of mental arithmetic, and you have English, you have that, you have Spanish, you have this, and you have got no agricultural science in your subject what you learn in school as a student, would you go back and go and do horticulture in the soil? You want to be a doctor or a lawyer or this or that. You don't want to work in the soil and thing. You have nothing and cocoa and thing, all based on type of vine and people working it. Land empty land and nobody working it. You have land with production and nobody clean it up neither.
Okay.
But you're supposed to work land and you have all the degrees. You will give young black choice. That's no one more.
All right, thank you.
I know something to tell you about. If you give young black choice of
Blossom, if I may,
land, a brand new bad ride, and some money. Tell me what you're taking.
Okay. Thank you so much, caller.
If I may continue, or if I may even look to that as the importance of agriculture, when I did a little bit of reading and research, and we have the bigger countries, he spoke about crops that are spoiling, but I say not really, not exactly, because in England, the United States, and Canada, because of the lockdown of COVID-19, they have had an overwhelming reaction from among the population where, like I said, engineers and consultants and accountants went back to the fields, in that some of the farmers said how overwhelmed they were, that they got more labor than the transient labor that they would hire every year, because people who were at home, and when the call went out that this farm or that farm needed laborers to help them to reap, the people came out, and they continue to go out, because some of these places are in lockdown, and some of those that are laid off. I mean, look for the United States. Last month, they had 20-point-something million people that was unemployed. And what a lot of these people are doing, they are partnering now with farmers, because they cannot bring in labor from the overseas, so they're partnering with farmers to to come to the farms and do the chores there, and they have been doing that, so they're keeping it alive. But I will not go on the premise to say that agriculture is dead, because for us as a people, one thing that you must do, you must eat. Regardless of if you're a lawyer, a doctor, or whosoever, you need to be able to feed your people. So you must eat. So agriculture will be relevant when everything else is gone. Some form of agriculture will be relevant. And he's right in the sense that if we do not inbred in our children from a young age, which we should do, start inbreeding the development of the productive sector like agriculture in Grenada, then our young adults and our children will not understand the importance of agriculture to our economy and to themselves. So I see the need that we should, as a people again, start emphasizing into the development of the science. And like I say, not only the old agriculture, but new agriculture in the way that we do things and how it is done in a much more productive way. We have an acre, but you can get much more from an acre today if the science, the technology was put in place than you would probably have gotten in the 60s or the 70s. And that is where we should lean in terms of going forward with agriculture. So I think there is always hope, and that is where we should go.
All right, let me ask some Facebook questions. One, do you think the best way forward for the Sisters of Carriacou and PT Martinique is local government?
Well, this is something that have been tried, and it was in the making for a long time. I think it is part of the development, and in terms of local government, a lot of people at a lot of places have local government in place, and the thing about it, the infrastructure have to be put in place, the education must be done. Will it work? In some instances, yes. And in some instances, you look at the development of a lot of places where you have local government, you have municipalities, and then you have states, you have so yes, it can work, but the structures and the education must be in place for these things to work. You just can't bring it on and say, here is it, and it will work. You know, and in some instances there will be hiccups. And you have to learn to iron out all hiccups in all kind of government, whether it is federal, local, state. You have to learn to iron out all hiccups there. I mean, the question can be asked, is our state government working for everybody today? Some people would argue and say no, some people would argue and say yes. So regardless of what it is, there are some aspects that will work and there are some aspects that will not work, but we can take the best of all of them and let it work for our people.
What are your plans going forward as opposition leader?
Well, like I said, my objective now is to put forward a platform that is an alternative platform in terms of the development of Grenada. I remember I said maybe last week or the week before, we have been here in Grenada, and you compare Grenada with our neighbors, the rest of the OECS countries, and where we are today. My question is, are we satisfied? Is there an alternative? Have we ever really put our people sit down? And this is what I want to bring to the table, an alternative form of government, an alternative way to grow our people, a different trajectory that is not the same as yesterday. How can we put people first in terms of development, and not only putting people first in terms of the development, but here you have a government in place. What do? We go from one election cycle to another election cycle, and probably all that we ever think about is incumbency. When I'm finished this election, how can I win the next election? What can I do to win the next election? What we should think about as a government and the alternative that we have, how can we go from one development stage to another development stage to another development stage so that our people can feel and be in a true sense of the word independence in terms of development in all sectors, agriculture, education, health and wellness industry, and this is the alternative that we will bring to the Grenadian people in terms of not just what is going on every day, the same thing over and over, but a different alternative so that people's lives will be better, putting people first in terms of development.
WhatsApp. Mr. Clement, if you care about Grenada, you will do your utmost to get rid of the present government. The only way to do so is by forming a coalition with the main opposition party, the NDC. If you do not, history will judge you.
Well, I do believe there are merits there. And in democracy, the democracy is about consensus. And we must have a platform that include, I would not sit here, Blossom, and tell you that I would never have any discussion with any other opposition party. It should make sense. And I would not have discussion with people, like I said before, that is bent on grinding axe with a particular leader. But I would have discussion with people that are bent on the development of Grenada first and foremost. And this is where I am going and want to go, and it's seen that we should bring everybody on board, because our state of our country now, if we do not leave a better place for our children and grandchildren, then history will not be so kind to us. If I sit here in the office of the opposition and are not able to bring everybody together with a common goal as to the development of Grenada, then I would have failed that and failed miserably. And my aim and objective is to always make Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique a better place, so that at the end of the day, history will be kind to us, and that is what I want to do. So yes, the writer is very well right that we need consensus, and we must get consensus in moving forward.
On that note, there's another question here that asks, do you have intentions of sharing this platform with the NDC? Or
well,
this day, I guess?
The platform, as described by you, Blossom, was reserved for the leader of the opposition. And I will not rule anything out, but as for now, I have a voice that I have a message to get across, and I will use this platform now to get that message across. And I'm always open for negotiations, and I will leave it open. One should never say, no, I would not do that. It would be wrong of me, but we are people that, and I am somebody that do believe in consensus and in negotiations, but it should be for the benefit of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, not for myself, but for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique.
If or when the next election is called, will you be representing St. George Northeast, or will you return to your home constituency? This is Dal.
Well, there is Carriacou and Petit Martinique. As you know, I have a history in Carriacou and Petit Martinique. I was raised in both Petit Martinique and Carriacou Primary School, in PMRC School, in Hillsborough Government School, High School. I worked there. I do have a home and family in Grenada now too. It's for me, and people have to understand that when you put yourself up for high office, is a representation of people. And for me, it doesn't matter where you come from. As long as you are eligible, you are a Grenadian citizen in right standing, then you could represent anybody, anywhere. I will not be almost beginning to sound tribal and say, okay, you're from St. George's South, so you have to represent St. George's South, or you're from St. Andrews, so you cannot represent St. Patrick's. But if you are there and you're willing and you're able to serve, and you have the temperament to serve, then by all means, place, time should not be a factor there. So, but again, in politics, you always have to have an open mind that they say a day in politics is a very long time, and so I am not and will not rule anything out. I mean, St. George's Notice have been very kind to me. The people have put their trust and the confidence in me twice, in 2013 and again in 2018, and I dare not let them down, but to continue to represent them and that has always been my mantra, that at the end of the day, if when I leave this, because we're all passing through, if I could leave St. George's Notice, Grenada, Carriacou, pretty much making a higher place, then my job would have been done. We are not here forever, but to make an impact while we serve, and that is what I will do. Thank you.
Let's go back to the phone lines. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, the Prime Minister did not make mention of the service industry. Neither did the two gentlemen that were on Beyond the Headlines last night. Now, I want to know, because the service industry is going to get a hard blow. It's going to be serious, and nothing is being said about it. I want to know if Mr. Clement have any views on any way the service industry could be buttressed moving forward. But they're going to be suffering, and I can see it happening already. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller.
Well, thank you, caller, for that note. And indeed, he has a point, and he has a very valid point. I remember when that stimulus package was put forward, it was the $50 million and then $20 million to certain sectors, and some of the service industry probably was mentioned, not all of it, but again, I questioned the amount, and I remember I said that this would be just a drop in the bucket for our unemployment situation and our desperate situation in Grenada. And I think it is beginning to tell, because a lot of people, even within the service industry, they are calling out to find out, how can I get some help, even from the stimulus package, the little that it is there. And it's something that must be looked into in the very near future as to how we can help some of our people in the service industry that were not even mentioned or not even looked upon. And this is why I say that government in the future will have to do a lot more in terms of looking at that service industry, and probably look towards in the future as to how we do things a lot different in Grenada, because now it's COVID-19, maybe 10 years down the line will be something else, and will we find ourselves in the same boat again? So yes, he is right that we have to go back to the drawing board and to let all Grenadians feel included, not just the little sectors that were there. I mean, yes, it is true that government is strapped for cash everywhere, and every country, everywhere is feeling the blunt of COVID-19, but we cannot leave some of our people behind, because the question is also asked, how was Blossom chosen before Mr. Clement in terms of getting service or in terms of getting some of the stimulus package? And people are looking for fairness in terms of the distribution of our taxpayers' resources to some of our people. And a lot of that has been raised in terms of fairness there about.
Another WhatsApp question. It's two questions. Okay. You've been with the NNP party for most of your life. If you were to form a new party, what difference can you bring better than the two existing political parties?
Well, I have contemplated on that, and the question has been asked about that. And then I asked the question, have you ever taken a look at the constitution of the different political parties? I mean, I have taken a look at GLP, I have taken a look at NNP, and I have gotten some way into NDC constitution. In terms of the development and the platform for the development of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, they are not so far apart. But what I have discovered is that what makes a difference really is the style of the political leadership. I mean, yes, you can have a constitution and you go there as leadership or as prime minister, and then what you profess and how you lead is two different things completely. I mean, when you look at the constitution of these political parties, you would say, oh my God, here is the document. Here, I mean, maybe the best minds in terms of law and politics and economics put forward those documents. But are they adhered to? And this is the crux of the matter, in that the documents are there. Today I could sit and put forward a document with colleagues of mine and people surrounding me, but the proof of the pudding really is in the eating of it. You know, so and that is where we split hairs with our leadership in terms of the proof of the pudding is in the eating of it. The documents are there, but are they adhered to? I could tell you no. I mean, look at it and you would see. So that is where I would go with that.
And in just about 30 seconds, seeing that you are no longer a member of the New National Party, what do you think your chances are going up against Mr. Burke in St. George Northeast?
But that is a long ways away. I mean, it has to be looked at in real time. And today, tomorrow, and probably a couple of months or a few years down the line, and there it is. The political situation today would not be the same next year. Because in our situation now, we do not know what we will have. I think I read a document just this morning that we were looking at the greater political landscape now, where you have, it is almost just like the end of the 1970s, when you had GOLP that hold the reins under the leadership of Sir Eric Machageri. Then you had the GNP, which was almost defunct. And then you had a new political entity coming in, which is the New Jewel movement. And if we can bring forward a movement almost there, what I am almost seeing and feeling is the same political climate that was existing then that is coming into fruition now. And moreover, I cannot answer that question there now because we do not know what the political situation would be. The situation now, I would tell my listeners and viewers that as much as possible, adhere to the protocol and go even deeper within the protocol to keep yourselves and your family safe so that you keep safe to keep alive. That is how I see it now. You keep safe to keep alive and go beyond the measures that are existing. I mean, they had a joke went out on YouTube Sunday night after the British Prime Minister made his speech, and then he was saying, well, in essence, he was saying, if you do not have to go out there, then don't go out there. What he was saying, by all means, keep safe, so that you can protect yourself and your family. And that is what I would say, and the politics will come after.
That's a good note to end the program. Thank you so much, Mr. Clement, for once again being a guest on the To The Point, same time, same place, next Tuesday, God's willing.
Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you. Have a good day. Stay safe.
Your listeners and your viewers, thank you.
Thank you. That was Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Tobias Clement, once again a guest here on To The Point. Every Tuesday, same time, same place. We'll get to more questions next week, God willing. That's the end of the program and the end of my time here on Classic and Hot and GBN. Coming up at 10, the Ministry of Infrastructure, Development, Public Utilities, Energy, Transport and Implementation. They will be facilitating a live news conference from 10 a.m. That is just after this program comes to a close. The news conference will be facilitated by Minister for Infrastructure Development, Honorable Gregory Bowen. He will provide an update following the recent announcement by the Prime Minister on the resumption of work on the construction industry. So those of you who have been inquiring, stay tuned for that. He will also be joined by a representative of the Ministry of Health, who is a member of the COVID COVID-19 team. So stay tuned to GBN Classic and Hot 98 for that news conference, which comes up next. Thank you guys so much. Have yourselves a productive Tuesday. I'll be back with you tomorrow, God willing. Until then, stay safe and stay healthy.